In a political landscape that has grown increasingly complex ahead of Zambia's 2026 general elections, the emergence of Dolika Banda as a potential presidential contender is reshaping the narrative surrounding President Hakainde Hichilema's bid for a second term. Once considered a technocratic ally of the United Party for National Development, UPND, Banda's recent moves suggest a strategic pivot that could disrupt the incumbent's path to a clear electoral victory. Her decision to resign from the board of ZCCM-IH, Zambia's state-owned mining investment company, citing political interference, was the first public signal of discontent. Now, with growing speculation about her presidential ambitions, Banda is no longer seen as a peripheral figure but as a serious political actor capable of fracturing the UPND's support base and complicating Hichilema's re-election calculus. Dolika Banda's political positioning is particularly significant given her familial ties to former President Rupiah Banda, a legacy that carries weight among segments of the electorate nostalgic for the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy (MMD) era. Her technocratic credentials, international experience in finance, and reputation for integrity make her an appealing alternative for voters disillusioned with the current administration's performance. While Hichilema came to power in 2021 on a wave of optimism and promises of economic reform, his government has faced mounting criticism over rising living costs, perceived elitism, and slow progress in key sectors such as mining, agriculture, and youth employment. Banda's entry into the race, whether formalized or still in the exploratory phase, introduces a new dynamic that could siphon votes from the UPND, especially among urban professionals, women, and moderate reformists. The timing of Banda's political emergence is also critical. With the UPND entering its fourth year in office, public sentiment is shifting. The honeymoon period has long ended, and opposition parties are recalibrating their strategies to capitalize on voter fatigue. Banda's potential candidacy offers a centrist alternative that could appeal to swing voters who are neither loyal to the Patriotic Front (PF) nor fully convinced by the UPND's governance. Her emphasis on transparency, institutional reform, and inclusive economic growth resonates with a demographic that feels increasingly alienated by partisan politics. Moreover, her departure from ZCCM-IH under contentious circumstances has positioned her as a whistleblower figure, someone willing to challenge entrenched interests and speak out against executive overreach. From a strategic standpoint, Banda's challenge to Hichilema is not merely symbolic. It forces the UPND to confront internal contradictions and reassess its messaging. The party's reliance on anti-corruption rhetoric and promises of technocratic governance now faces scrutiny, especially when former allies like Banda publicly question its commitment to institutional independence. Her critique of political interference in state-owned enterprises touches a nerve in Zambia's economic discourse, where resource nationalism and foreign investment tensions remain unresolved. If Banda chooses to run, her campaign could center on restoring credibility to public institutions, renegotiating mining contracts, and promoting a more equitable distribution of national wealth, issues that have gained traction among civil society and youth movements. The broader implications of Banda's political rise extend beyond electoral arithmetic. Her candidacy could catalyze a realignment of Zambia's opposition landscape, encouraging coalition building among smaller parties and independent candidates. In a political system often dominated by binary choices, Banda represents a third force capable of reshaping voter expectations and introducing policy-driven debate into the campaign. Her background in international finance and development positions her to engage with Zambia's external creditors and multilateral institutions from a place of expertise, potentially offering a more pragmatic approach to debt restructuring and fiscal policy than the populist alternatives currently on offer. For Hichilema, the challenge is twofold: defending his record while neutralizing emerging threats without alienating key constituencies. The UPND must now navigate a more fragmented political terrain, where loyalty is no longer guaranteed and performance metrics matter more than party slogans. Banda's critique of governance practices could force the administration to accelerate reforms, improve service delivery, and engage more transparently with stakeholders. Failure to do so risks reinforcing the perception that the UPND has lost touch with its reformist roots and is vulnerable to credible challenges from within the technocratic elite. In media circles and political think tanks, Banda's potential candidacy is being analyzed not just for its electoral viability but for its symbolic resonance. She embodies a shift toward issue-based politics, where leadership is evaluated on competence, ethics, and strategic vision rather than tribal affiliation or party loyalty. Her emergence could inspire more women to enter the political arena, challenging gender norms and expanding the scope of political representation in Zambia. If she runs, her campaign will likely emphasize inclusive governance, institutional accountability, and economic diversification, pillars that align with Zambia's long-term development goals but have often been sidelined in partisan discourse. The next few months will be crucial in determining whether Banda formalizes her candidacy and how the UPND responds to this evolving threat. Political observers will be watching for signs of coalition building, policy articulation, and grassroots mobilization. For now, her presence in the political conversation is enough to unsettle the status quo and force a recalibration of electoral strategies. Whether she becomes a kingmaker, a spoiler, or a genuine contender remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. Dolika Banda has complicated Hakainde Hichilema's path to a clear win in 2026, and the political terrain in Zambia is no longer predictable.